Okay, so this is Rex that I'm meeting for the first time. And I'm just going to take a few notes to remind myself. Yeah, so I think we can pretty much get this whole area. So let me refresh myself what I remember about my conversation with you. Well, that's wrong because I have the wrong person. You're not Bobby at all. Okay. So hi, I'm Phyllis.
Nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you. This one just fell apart. Okay. Well, it doesn't fall apart. There we go. So I'm just going to refresh my memory. You just moved to Grangeville in September, right?
Yes.
From Yakima area?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So he's got a new house.
Yes. Lots of new things.
You got him when he was 4 months old?
4 months.
Okay, and he's about 1.5 years old now?
Yes.
Okay. And you're seeing more reactivity now, you're saying?
Only on leash. Like, he's always had his spine stand up, but I've never had him growl as much as he has recently.
Okay.
And then I also haven't had him lunge at a dog like he did the other day.
Okay, so tell me about the other day. Was this after you and I talked?
It was right before, I think. Like that day, literally. I took him out. It wasn't like any intention. I don't think how he is, I don't think he has any intention on what he's doing, or not what he's doing, but of hurting, yeah. I don't think there's any of that. Good, thank you. And so it was a boxer, super playful, just wanted to like jump at him, so she just was shoving her paws up towards him.
He was on a leash?
Yes, they both were.
They were both on a leash?
Yes.
Okay, and you were like out walking and they crossed each other?
Yeah, and so he saw her and he was growling for a bit and then jumped forward a little bit, but then until like we brought them near each other, then he was like sniffing her, and then when she brought her paws up is when he lunged just forward a little bit. So I think he was staying boundaries, but at the same time, that's not the dog I know. So I'm like, what's happening and why is he thinking this way?
So he encountered that when you were in Yakima before you moved here?
No, not at all. No. He has been the sweetest boy. We used to go to the dog park all the time too. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because like when I did take him on walks, there were no other dogs really around.
Oh, well, but at dog parks there were dogs. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's
but
weird.
He wasn't on a leash in a dog park.
He was until we got to the gate, and then when I let him in, yes, he was off.
He was off leash. And dogs tend to be more reactive, I think, when they're on a leash.
Right.
Because they don't feel like they have a way to escape.
Right.
If they feel uncomfortable in a situation.
Hey.
So,
good, thank you.
So I have a note about people only in the house, and I'm not sure what that means.
So sometimes he'll just bark at the people. I don't mind it too much, but it's because it's getting better. But for a bit, he would like not stop growling at someone even when they came in. He wouldn't go near him. He'd stay on his bed. He'd listen, but he was like still apprehensive about them. Leave it.
So you've got pretty good attention. Focus. Oh boy. UPS. Good thing you're covered up, buddy.
Doesn't like the mailman?
He doesn't like UPS. He doesn't like delivery. Well, he doesn't like him from the inside the house because he's got to protect his house. So like strangers or someone he has known?
Strangers. And almost everyone is a stranger coming in, yeah. He's getting quicker with it.
He's very curious of Gus. He's really looking at him.
Good, thank you. Yeah, so it's just been a lot of people. There was one guy, he was really apprehensive about. Good, thank you. I appreciate that. Good. But he calmed down after a while, so it was like 10 minutes max, so not long at all.
Okay. And he's never, when he went after the boxer, he wasn't trying to bite him. He's never bitten another dog or never bitten anybody.
Nope.
Okay.
And that's why I want to make sure, like, I'm watching I want me and my dog to be able to go outside, and I want us to be able to walk around and meet other dogs.
Sure. And where you're living now, you said you have a fenced-in yard,
We do.
and you let him out in the yard,
Mhm.
fenced-in area?
Yes.
And is it a fence where anybody can walk by it? or-
No, he can't see through them.
Okay.
And they're pretty tall too. I think stand up here, so right here.
So in the yard is fine?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There was for a little bit, he would bark at our neighbor right next to us because he wasn't used to it, but he hasn't done it in a long while.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And then when you take him walking, you're in just like a regular neighborhood in Grangeville, right?
Yes.
So just like sidewalks, or a lot of people walking by, or?
Yeah.
Is it kind of a more busy or less busy street?
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
The back side of it is less busy because I do a full circle for this area that we have to walk since it's more of a one way. And so I do that full circle, and for one way there's a lot less, but it does depend on the day.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you said he's vocal and kind of barky?
Yeah, he's mostly whiny for the most
Whiny?
part. Yeah, but
Okay.
recently he's been barky.
Like, what sets off the barky?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay.
No, it's just sometimes he's more barkish, and then other times not really. Most of the time he's pretty quiet like this. Like this is the most he'll ever really be. He's always been a more timid, more relaxed dog.
Yeah, I
So
was gonna ask you, does he have a lot of energy? But no, it's not.
not usually. Like I think he's gotten more accustomed.
Hi, Rex.
Come on.
You got a pretty face.
He does have a very good face. Come here. Nope.
So, and then you work during the day, so he stays home with your boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and then your boyfriend works at night?
Yes.
And so you're home with him during the day, so he's with somebody
Pretty constantly.
almost 24/7 in the
Yeah.
house? Okay. And he's fine with your boyfriend?
Oh, absolutely,
And
yeah.
that's somebody he's known all
Mm-hmm.
his life?
He's never once barked or growled at my boyfriend.
Okay.
I think there was one time when he like spooked him because he was like deep in sleep and he didn't realize someone came in, and then someone touched him. He was like, "Rah!" But other than that, hey, psst. I know you're curious. He's always been a curious
He
pup.
is curious, yeah.
He's always been apprehensive too, so I'm sure that probably has something to play into it but with his apprehension, he's always been very neutral with it as well, so he's very calm. So, because the first day I brought him home, we lived at my grandparents for a little bit, and they have horses. And the first day I brought him home, he saw the horses for the first time. He sat down instantly, didn't try lunging, nothing, just sat and watched them. That was it. And we were pretty far off still, but he was just curious, wanted to see them.
So is that what you mean by apprehensive?
Yeah.
Okay, so curious.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like he didn't know what to think about him or anything. I'll bring him close to something too, so like I kicked that on accident and he bounced back from it, and so apprehension, so you see him
So he's
go
a little
over to it.
cautious.
Yeah, cautious, better word, yes.
Unusual things, okay. Okay. I have questions in my mind. What is it? So do you play with him?
I do.
So what does he do for fun and exercise?
We usually grab his tug toy.
You want to see me? Hello.
We do usually have his tug toy, and he loves tug toys, so I bought him a really long one, really thick one.
Okay.
And I've been trying to get out more with him, and especially like running for my own self too. That's why I want him to get him used to the walks.
Okay. There's some treats in there, don't you?
He probably does. He's got a big old sniffer.
Yeah. I got a lot of smell.
And so I definitely want to, like, when I work out, I want to take him with me.
Okay.
Do more of that.
Okay. Does he jump up on people?
Not usually, no.
Okay.
If he's super excited and super comfortable, yeah. But it's very uncommon, because he's more or less like this pretty much all the time.
Okay. And your experience with other dogs, have you had other big dogs, have you done training with dogs?
We've had dogs since I was younger. We had 2 labs since I was a kid, and then
Can I give him a treat?
absolutely.
Okay, nice. Okay. That's okay. Very nice. You're slow growing. there's not another one there.
It's good, thank you.
So you've had dogs before?
Yes, so we had 2 labs. One of them was actually bigger than him. He was 120 pound.
Wow.
Huge guy. And then we had what was he again? Boxer Rhodesian mix. He was like the best dog ever. Those 2 were one of the labs and him were our childhood dogs. They were like the best. We got spoiled as dog owners, first time dog owners as a family, because they just learned so quickly. They were so smart, eager to please, didn't really bark much or nothing. Excuse you. Thank you.
So what kind of training did you do with those other dogs? Was it maybe just like house pets?
House pet mostly for them, because they were our family dogs. The second lab that we had, I worked with him a little bit, just doing little tricks here and there, sit, all of that. So I taught him how to high five, I taught him how to sit, I taught him how to lay down and everything.
Okay.
But
and with him, do you want just a house pet, a companion, someone
Yeah.
you can walk with or run with?
and I just want to be able to do stuff with him. Yeah.
Okay.
And also be able just to get him what he needs, because I know with his shepherd, he needs something to do.
Yeah.
Come here. Thank you. Hi.
He's got a nice focus.
He
pays
does.
attention to you very, very well.
He does for the most
So
part, yeah.
what did you say and you said you have a prong collar?
I do. I have it on me, but I have been trying not to use it, but I did use it the last like 2 to 3 walks we went on.
And how did that work? Did it help?
A lot better, yeah. And usually I try not to tug on it too, because even though he's got a pretty thick little pad here, even though he's got that, like, he responds well just enough by feeling when it pulls, and then once it pulls enough on him, he just like backs off.
Yeah, I mean, he responds to the little tug you give him with his leash. Okay.
But when it comes to like other dogs, for some reason, just when we've been on the leash, just on the walks only too. I don't know, like, it's weird.
Excuse me. Okay, so let me see you just kind of do your thing with him. Kind of walk, or if you tell him to sit, or any commands that you give him, let me just kind of see you interact with him.
Okay.
Or if you want to try to put him on an obstacle or something.
Come on. You want to try it? You try it. I don't know if you like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
this
kind of
right
jump back like, I'm not too sure about that. Oh, I'm not too sure.
You want to come up?
So what would happen if you dropped a treat on him? Put a treat on him.
He'll get it. He'll reach for it.
I got a long neck.
He does.
Let's see something that doesn't wobble. Let's see something like this. It's got a funny surface and it doesn't wobble. Oh, what do you think about that? Huh? If I put this down?
Does that feel smelly? It's okay. Good job. That was actually good. Good job.
No.
He used to be a lot more skittish. Come on. Step up. Yes. Good.
Good.
Good. Is that weird?
Is he just as responsive with your boyfriend as you?
Not as much, but he does listen to him.
Okay.
Good. That was good.
Good boy. Good job.
Is that weird? But he does listen, and definitely for the most part, because me and my boyfriend were long distance since I've had him, and so he respects what my boyfriend says, but at the same time, he listens quicker with me.
Okay.
He always, it's not like he doesn't want to listen, but he'll like look at you and be like, "Are you sure you want me to go to my bed?" And he's like, "I want to be near you." I'm like, okay.
Okay.
But
So I'm kind of going to make the assumption, but this may be a generalization. You probably do a little more interacting and training with him maybe than
a
your...
lot more training, yeah.
Pretty general.
I've done all of the training with him, that's
Yes.
for sure. But
The short hair is supposed to be my husband, but I do all the training.
Fair, it happens that way, I
Yeah.
swear.
So they're gonna naturally, you know, like he will climb up in my lap more than he does my husband. He loves my husband, but he'll come in my lap first, so.
Oh, he'll go and sleep with my boyfriend, right in the middle of his legs.
Okay.
He knows that my boyfriend's the soft, gentle, like, not gonna tell him to go to his bed, and
He's a pushover.
a little bit, yeah. But, like, he doesn't use it maliciously, you know? He's just like, I didn't go cuddle with him at night. Good.
So what, how about if you tell him to sit?
You wanna sit? That's... Nope.
Huh.
Thank you.
How about down?
Good.
Wow, you've got some really nice manners and very nice focus.
I had to work with him a lot, especially when he was growing up, because of how big he was getting, how quick he was getting big, and so because of that, he would like come over to me and like swat my face, and he just got big old paws, and he's got talons. That's
Yeah, he doesn't have his dew claws removed, so.
no, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's got some
That's
big
my
feet, and he's got a lot of muscle there.
So I worked with him a lot to like have gentler mannerisms, especially when he does get excited. He still gets me in the face once in a while. He got me in the face like 2 weeks ago. Just we were playing on the bed, yeah, and he was hopping up and down, running around the house, and then popped up, and then he went, bah! And I was like, oh.
You know, there is a hazard to having big dogs.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I said off, and he heard my tone, and he just went. And I was
So he doesn't take harsh correction. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe so. If I'm understanding you correctly, I
Yeah,
believe
well,
so.
like my Rottweiler,
Mhm.
I could get really harsh with him and it would not hurt his feelings at all.
Mhm.
With the short hair, if I got very harsh, it'd just like, oh gosh, I'm just.
It'll hurt his feelings if I do give him one, but he recovers very quickly too.
Okay.
He does bounce back, so he's my little jelly.
Okay.
Good job. You're very relaxed. Good.
It is. So how would you rate what you're seeing here in another environment that he's not comfortable with? On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the most comfortable he could ever be, 10 being freaked out.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty comfortable for him. This is like how he is at home. This is
It
how
seems like
he
it.
was at the dog park.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, like
How about a stay command? Will he stay for you?
probably. Stay. And so he's pretty good. He's my good he's my good boy. And so that's why I'm like, what's happening? What's going on?
happening?
God.
And that's been like the last 3 months.
Just
2?
ever since we moved, yeah.
Oh, 2 months, okay.
Excuse you.
Huh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Were you living in a house before?
We were living where I worked, which was so I had an apartment in a college dorm, which means I had a kitchen, living room, and my bedroom.
Okay.
So let's say it was that area combined up to the red door over to past that door.
Okay. And he lived with you there? Okay.
And then we always had an indoor, not indoor, but the building circulated around a grass area that was fairly big, probably just a little bit smaller than this room. So he had enough room to go and run around outside and free reign, didn't have to be on a leash with it, because I take him out after work every single day. And there was no students out there, so I just let him go off leash.
Were there other dogs that lived there?
There was at one point, but she was a tad protective of her owner, and so she was always constantly barking. She was a shepherd mix too, a lot smaller, but a lot more domineering. And so she was very vocal with people coming to the room, when people knocked, when she heard voices, when he was around, did not like other dogs, like. Yeah.
And he hasn't had any kind of a negative experience since he moved? Nothing that said, oh, that could have been something to say, like the interaction with the boxer. I mean, that was like the first time he did it, and then from then on he acted a little differently. You could say, well, maybe that was, but there's nothing that you can think of of a particular incident
not since we moved. The only time he's ever really had another dog go at him, and not even like super bad, was my sister's pit bull, because he was resource guarding my mom and my sister. So anytime he'd come near him, even as a puppy, he'd come towards him, and he would never. I don't think he ever got his teeth around his face or nothing, but he would definitely come at his face, and so.
But that was back before you moved here.
Yes, that was
Okay.
back when he was probably still 10 months.
Okay, and that's what I was gonna ask you, so resource guarding, food, can you take food away from him, take toys away from him?
Oh, for the most part, yeah. There was a little bit when he was, when I first got him, because I got a cat soon after too. He did not like the cat coming near his food, so I shoved my hand in there, and I kept doing that a few days. Kept shoving my hand around it, pick it up, make him wait. The only time he'll like slightly growl at her now is if he has like a brand new bone and he doesn't want her to come near it. He'll still let her come near it, because I told him that he needs to be nice to her, and she'll just come and sniff it, and then she'll go away, and he'll keep chewing while he's just like.
And this is your cat?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure mine would do that.
Yeah, he's far gentler than most. And
Yeah,
I'm like, this is my gentle boy.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to love him dearly, you have good focus with him, you seem to have a good relationship and good bond, and he seems pretty comfortable here. I mean, I noticed if I kind of do something quickly,
Watch him, that is, dude.
he's a little cautious about it, but like if I walk around, he just wants more treats from me.
He associates
I
well
know.
with people, very,
I know
very
what
much
was
so.
in that hand. There was
So-
a treat in that hand.
And that's why I'm like, I don't understand why it's only the walk and with other dogs. I don't get it. Because he's fine with the dogs that are in their yards. Like for a little bit, he was a little uncomfy, and there would be like a few dogs that would come running up to the fence. But for the most part, he's gotten over that.
So as
But
long as the dog's in their fence.
yeah, it's if another dog's on another
How
leash.
about if he passes a person without a dog?
Mostly fine, yeah.
So mostly fine, but
I
what's the-
don't think he's had an issue. I'm trying to recall.
Okay.
I don't think he's had an issue with another person.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's been very few people that he's actually had an issue with. There was one guy that I was very uncomfortable with back at my old place of work, and he would constantly come into the office. I would bring him into the office, but I couldn't bring him in at that time because we had younger students around. So while we had the high schoolers there, I didn't bring him to the office at all. So this other student would come around, makes me extremely uncomfortable just by what he would say and do. And so I finally started bringing him around when the students were gone. And first time that student walked by and he saw him, he got up instantly, went to the door, but stopped at my corner where I always tell him he can't go outside of the door, and it was growling at him. And I was like, that's the only time I've ever actually seen him be that way.
Dogs can be pretty perceptive.
Yes, and so I trust my dog on that, but that's why I'm like, that's the only time he's ever had aggression, and I can write it off as something that like he either picked it up from me or,
Protecting you.
Yep. and so,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you are a nice boy, and you are a very handsome young man, and I love the way he looks at you.
I know, he's got very human eyes
He
too.
does. I mean, his face. I'm trying to figure out what
What
I'm seeing in that face.
I'm getting, I've been slowly collecting votes. We've got Great Dane in there. We've got people guessing what he might have. So then when the DNA comes out, so he's got Great Dane, Hound, and then my mom. I think someone said Rhodesian as well. My boyfriend
I was
did,
wondering about that. Yeah.
especially with how his fur comes up, probably, because it's just thick all the way down. And there's a handful of others. 2 people said Beagle. I was like, I didn't see it.
Okay, I'm not too sure about that.
I don't know either. It's so silly though.
Okay.
I did have one lady online try to tell me that he looks like he has a muscular dystrophy in his head, and I was like, you can't look at that from the picture just because his mouth was like this wide around a toy. I'm like, of course his face is gonna look different. Don't tell me that. So then I got freaked out for a little bit there, and I'm like, do you have a small face? Do you have no musculature?
Yeah, there could be maybe a little Great Dane. go ahead and turn this off.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about how I do things and
Okay.
see what might work for you.